Holy smokers, folks, this ain't no dang jokers. People are flipping out today. Lost all my money, going broke. I need bankruptcy now. What is going on out here in this market? It's scaring me. Oh boy, okay. A lot to talk about in today's video. Got to talk about several stocks. We're going to talk about Tesla, we're going to talk about Palantir, a bunch of the AI stocks, a bunch of what's going on in this market. Man, we got a lot to get into. It's going to be a busy, action-packed video. Thank you for being subscribed, folks. I appreciate you being here as always, okay? And we'll talk about some opportunities in this market. So, Tesla, my Tesla down almost $26,000 in the public count here today, down 6%. Oh my gosh, Tesla, we're down to our last 921% gain in this one. Oh my gosh, okay. Meta has some exciting news, by the way, today. We'll get into that in this video as well. Meta, no, $18,000 plus move down. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? Folks, for 10 cents a day, you can save a Jeremy. I would need you to go to don'tletjeremygohungry.com and donate to this man, okay? He is absolutely losing all his money and he's flipping out. He's crying all over the place. He's kicking stuff. He's throwing stuff. Oh my gosh, it's devastating. In all seriousness, a lot to get into here today, folks, okay? A lot to get into, okay? Alrighty, first up, NASDAQ, okay? Now, do you see what I see? Oh, baby, I see something here. So, NASDAQ just in the past few trading days is down about 3.3% or so, okay? This is a little baby start for what we need. We need another 7 to 10% down for the NASDAQ, in my opinion here. This NASDAQ has climbed. It has climbed rapidly. I feel like this next few weeks here is a perfect time to send this NASDAQ down another 7 to 10%. This would be absolutely perfection if this happened. We need a nice size pullback. I'm not talking 3%. I need a 7 to 10% pullback. That would make for an extremely healthy market so we can have our next run coming out of this earnings season, essentially, and it would give us some really extraordinary opportunities in this market. Now, how do we get that? We don't need actually anything concrete to happen. We just need some worries, okay? We need a little anxiety to creep, a little irrational anxiety to creep into this market a little more, okay? We know some stuff happened in Russia, okay? You can dive down that rabbit hole if you want to, okay? If there's more worries about what's going to happen in Russia, what's going on with Putin, what's the decisions here, what's going on there, that could definitely ramp up some more anxiety in the market in general. Student loan payments are starting up again, if I recall, in September. So if you start to have some real worries creep into the market about, oh my gosh, is this going to devastate the economy? Is this what causes the big recession? Yeah, we haven't had it. People are still out there spending money like it's nobody's business. But maybe this is the thing, okay? So it doesn't even have to be the thing. All it has to be is a worry about it being a thing, and that can send you down the market. You don't need concrete things. All you need is anxiety, irrational anxiety to be in the market. It's all you need, okay? European inflation, still very high. What's the European Central Bank going to do? They're probably going to continue to raise rates here for a bit, okay? That's a, worry out there for the market. What does that mean for the market, right? AI, was AI just all talk, right? Just a bunch of hype. Maybe the numbers aren't going to be there for these companies that are supposed to report these amazing AI numbers over these next several quarters, right? So we don't need any of this to be concrete right now. But the bottom line is we're not going to get clarity around any of these subjects right now. So it's a perfect time for the market to freak out over all these subjects, not knowing the end result of this, right? We're not going to know the end result of student loan payment situation. So it's a perfect time to freak out over that for the market. We don't know what's going on really in Russia, so it's a perfect time to freak out over that. European inflation is still a problem. Perfect time to still freak out about that for the market, right? AI, we don't have clarity on if the numbers are going to be real coming in for these companies or if maybe it was all just talk and hype, right? So right now is kind of the perfect scenario for the market to just kind of like freak out here in the short term about all these things about what they could be, right? And the market usually is going to look at things a little more glass half empty in many of these situations. So it's a perfect scenario, folks. We have the perfect scenario going here to get a certain type of pull down here. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping happens here as we continue to kind of pull this market down over the next few weeks to the next even 2 months, if that was to happen, okay? Now you look out there today and it's clear where the real weakness is in this market right now. It's in the AI stocks, right? Tesla, this is my AI list, okay? This doesn't mean these are the only AI-related companies in the world, okay? These are just the ones I keep an eye on. Tesla, NVIDIA, Meta, Google, AMD, Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, Adobe, and Palantir, okay? Now, there's something fishy about this. Extremely fishy, okay? Two things extremely fishy about this, okay? Do you see what I see? Okay, two extremely fishy things. The first one is, why is Tesla down 6+%? We'll talk about that a little later on in this video. That's a fishy move there. That's insane, okay? Second thing is that's very fishy is Palantir. Why did Palantir hold up so well here today? Okay, that's a pretty extraordinary holdup. I mean, in a day where Tesla moves down 6+%, you would think Palantir would be down 6, 7, 8% as well, okay? Usually those stocks can, at least recently, have kind of moved together a bit, and so you would assume, like, if Tesla stock got wrecked like it did today, it would take down Palantir, but yeah, Palantir held up really well today. Strange, okay? In regards to Palantir, it's interesting. I saw this a few hours ago, okay? Palantir's AI surge hardens the resolve of stocks bears, right? The bear. So Palantir recent gains follow steep declines, right? Results in AI comments, and look what the stock did. And so the bears are convinced that the only reason Palantir stock price has gone up here is because of AI excitement, okay? And what I am here to tell the bears in regards to Palantir is no. Okay? That is one component. This is in order of why the stock has made such a big move this year. It's up 117% this year. There's 4 reasons why this stock, not one, there's 4 reasons why this stock has moved this big so far this year, okay? And why it could potentially move 200+% by the end of the year. We'll see what happens, okay? The main reason is profitability. You got to understand, like, the bears are totally missing this. Like, they're so caught up in the AI stuff. Like, this company was seen as they're never going to make a profit. This is what the bears said on Palantir. They never made a profit. They never will make a profit. And then what happened? The profit showed up. And there he was, holding the profit right in front of everybody, okay? And now the company is to profitability. Karp says the company is going to remain profitable from here on out, which is a huge statement. And so now you just took a stock that was seen as it's a money loser, it's always going to be a money loser, to, oh, it's a money maker, and now it's always expected to be a money maker on the bottom line. It's a huge flip. Huge flip in the investor psychology around that stock, and how many more people can take that stock as a serious investment opportunity. Whereas when it's a money loser, a lot of people don't even want to touch it. Like, talk to me when it has a positive net income. Talk to me when it has a positive operating income. Until that happens, we don't want to touch it. When all of a sudden you flip those, now all of a sudden a massive amount more funds can start to consider that, and investors in general. The second reason why the stock has moved so much is AI, right? And we're going to see in the results over the next few quarters on what's really going on here with AI. But based upon Karp's commentary, what he's done in interviews, I think it sounds extremely bullish in terms of actually adding up to big numbers, okay? Third thing on why the stock has moved so big so far this year is we actually likely have S&P 500 inclusion coming at the end of this year or at the beginning of 2024. Palantir is looking like it's going to end up meeting every single criteria possible to get an S&P 500 either at the end of this year or the beginning of 2024. So that's looking pretty darn good, which means likely Palantir is going to see a massive influx of buying as you get closer and closer to actually getting an S&P 500. And then once you get in, all the funds being forced to buy, that's a huge bullish vector for a company like Palantir. The fourth thing is further understanding of Palantir's products, I think, has been a huge thing. When this company first went public in 2020, a lot of people didn't understand Gotham, Foundry, Apollo, any of these products, what they did, what made them special, what their competitors were and things like that, right? And I think as time's ticking on here, more and more folks are understanding the power of these products overall. And so that is why this stock has moved 100+% this year. And those same reasons I just listed you off there, okay? Guess what? I have news for the bears, okay? Those are the same exact reasons, especially if all those start to play out in the back half this year. Those are the same reasons why the stock could finish the year up 200 to 300%. I hope it doesn't happen. I would rather just be a buyer of Palantir at much cheaper prices. But I can see a scenario. If those things all play out the way it looks like they're playing out, the company stays profitable, the AI numbers are for real, they start putting up these big numbers, start doing big guidance numbers, and the commentary gets even bigger around that. SP 500 inclusion starts looking like it's in the bag, right? And you put all these components together, and all of a sudden profitability starts coming in much better than expected. That's how you get a stock to go up 200, 300% this year. And it's not uncommon for a great stock to go up 200 or 300%. Look at how many NVIDIA's done it several times in its career, okay? And so, especially when you're coming off of a horrible year for the stock like it did in last year, right? That just kind of gives you a last level of like a supercharge, no pun intended, in regards to Palantir there, okay? So, some food for thought in regards to Palantir, okay? Now, Tesla Maesla, what's going on here? Stock dropped massively today, right? 6% plus downward move. So Tesla stock drops after Goldman Sachs downgrade. Goldman Sachs move follows downgrades by Barclays and Morgan Stanley. What the heck is going on here? Tesla stock was under pressure on Monday after receiving another downgrade from a major Wall Street bank, the latest in a trend that is becoming harder to ignore for investors. Late Sunday, Goldman analyst Mark Delaney took Tesla shares down a peg, downgrading the stock to neutral from buy, marking at least the third downgrade of the stock after the last week, saw analysts from Barclays and Morgan Stanley sour on the name. In an unusual move, however, Delaney raised his price target on the stock to $248 from $185, while recommending investors pare back exposure to Tesla after more than doubling this year, right? And we know Goldman Sachs has major weight, so we do know that, if Goldman Sachs comes out here and says, hey, you know what, chill, a lot of people at least consider that in the short term, okay? A month goes by, 2 months go by, no one remembers it, but at that time they do. I hate these sorts of moves, okay? I hate when somebody downgrades the stock and then massively raises their price target. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous in regards to this, right? For Delaney, the downgrade is pretty much a valuation call. While the primary reason for the change in our view is that we think the market is now giving the stock more credit for its longer-term opportunities. We are also cognizant of the difficult pricing environment for new vehicles that we think will continue to weigh on Tesla's automotive non-GAAP gross margins, non-generally accepting accounting principles, gross margins this year, Delaney wrote, okay? So, that's nothing new. We know 2023 is not going to be the most exciting year for Tesla's margins, so that's not really any new news there in regards to that, right? So my overall feeling, do I agree with his call? Do I disagree with his call? So I think Tesla's, obviously their valuation is not nearly as compelling now as it was 6 months ago, clearly because their stocks moved so much. I actually wouldn't say Tesla's a super overvalued stock right now. I think Tesla's actually pretty fairly valued. I think it's actually, dare I say, even slightly undervalued. I mean, very slightly. And you look at his forward P and you're like, that forward P is so high versus the market. Tesla's going to massively, epically outgrow the market. So that's the thing, a lot of people never consider is this massive outgrowing. If Tesla's going to grow 2x the market, should it trade at 2x the valuation? Absolutely. What if it's going to outgrow the market 5x over the coming years? Maybe it should command 5x the valuation, right? And so when you start breaking it down like that and start thinking on a more logical basis, the more you start to realize, oh my gosh, this stock's either fairly valued right now or maybe even actually slightly undervalued, which is interesting, right? Now, this person says Goldman Sachs wants to manipulate the market by going short while jumping in buying when prices hit bottom, making money both ways. This should be illegal trading manipulation, and the SEC should make new laws to prevent this, ban all analysis who manipulate stocks, right? And I understand this is a sentiment retail investors have. I used to have this sentiment back in my first few years of getting in the market, and you start to go down the rabbit hole more and you start to realize about manipulation in the market, and it's very frustrating, right? But at the end of the day, the SEC is not going to do anything. And you would say, well, maybe they're not going to do anything for reasons of it's their friends at the big investment banks. And things like that. The reason they're not is because you're going to start going into a lot of various things about freedom of speech and whatnot. Because if all of a sudden you say, well, Goldman Sachs can't, make commentary around this, right? And trade around this. Well, what about, the person that puts out this article? Should they be able to own Tesla stock, right? Tesla's manufacturing efficiency will continue to surge, according to this report. And whoever did that report, should they be allowed to own Tesla stock long or short, right? You get into all these gray areas, right? Because you can say, well, this must be manipulating the stock up because they're talking about all this positive stuff that we don't even know if it's going to happen or not, right? So, is that manipulative? What about this? When people put out articles like this, right? About, somebody died in a Tesla. When people die in cars all the time, every day, and it's never reported as this car, but yet it happens in a Tesla, and it makes national news, and everybody wants to talk about it. Oh, it's a crash involving a Tesla. Oh my gosh, okay? And unfortunately, people pass every day, multiple times per day in car crashes. And no one talks about it. But if it's a Tesla, it makes news, and you see it on Google and you see it on social media, and it goes everywhere, right? Is that manipulation, right? What about when I was talking about Tesla 4+ years ago and why I thought Tesla was going to $3,000 over the coming years, right? And by the way, Tesla's way over $3,000 on a split adjusted basis now. Was that manipulative? I own Tesla shares. So, and I'm talking about the views in the stock. Was that manipulative? Right? So this is where you get in all these fine areas in these problems where, you know, if you're going to eliminate them, then you're going to start eliminating all this, and then no one's going to be allowed to talk. And then if you leave a message on a forum board and you say something positive about the stock or negative about the stock, are you manipulating the stock then at that point, right? Should they come after you? Like you can't go down that rabbit hole, because once you go down that rabbit hole, you're going to go down the whole freedom of speech rabbit hole, and then it's impossible to enforce all that, and it's a mess, okay? An absolute mess. So at the end of the day, no, they're not going to do anything about that stuff. There would have to be something insanely concrete for them to go off of, and you know, proving that is difficult and extremely costly. So yeah, that's I think that's an important point to make out there, okay? Meta. So Meta is going to launch a VR subscription service that is going to cost $7.99 a month. Meta on Monday announced a virtual reality subscription service that will give users access to 2 new titles each month. The service, called Meta Quest Plus, everybody has to put a plus at the end of it, right? Costs $7.99 a month and is compatible with all the company's headsets. Meta Quest Plus is available on Meta Quest Store starting Monday. So, you know, I think especially with Meta Quest 3 coming, this is going to be an extremely big thing for the company, okay? Because I don't know if you guys know my stance on the Meta Quest 3, but I believe that's going to far outsell any Quest product they've done in the past. And I think it's going to be by a pretty significant margin. I think that product's going to be a huge hit. And I think especially with all the excitement that Apple's really bred into the space here, I think Quest 3 is going to be an absolute banger product. And because Apple's brought so much interest into the space, then everybody's looking at the product and they're saying, oh my gosh, it's $3,500. That's like nearly $4,000 after tax. I'm surely not buying that, but I want something exciting. Quest 3 looks like it's going to be a phenomenal product. And so I expect a lot of people to get Quest 3, understanding that, you know, they want to have an experience with this, a good experience with the product, but understanding that the Apple product is so far out of price point, it's so unrealistic, right? And so I think the numbers that Quest 3 is going to put up is going to be really, really amazing. And obviously, when you're talking about a subscription service on top of that for Meta, the great thing about Meta, I don't know if there's ever been a stock that has more monetization opportunities in front of it over the coming years than Meta. I mean, it's just, there's so many monetization opportunities for this company over the coming years. It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you just look at a service they started recently, right? What was it, last quarter or so? Which is the Instagram verification badge, $14.99 a month. Like, there's so many things this company has up their sleeves for monetization. The last thing I worry about with Meta is revenue growth. They're going to launch so many products and services over the coming years. That's in the bag. The thing I've always worried about is like profitability, because I saw Zuckerberg always hire, in my opinion, too many. And now Zuckerberg wants to run a lean, mean team for years to go in the future. Do you know what is going to happen to this net income of this company over the next few years? I think that's why I still, to this day, think there's a real possibility Meta is going to become the biggest company in the world market cap-wise. It's a hard damn challenge because they got fierce competitors that are also beasting, like Apple and Amazon and Google and Microsoft and all those others. But don't get in Meta's way. That's all I'm going to say about that. Every dip's a buying opportunity in Meta stock. Bottom line, every single dip is a buying opportunity in Meta stock, unless you're like me where you already have such an insane position built. Outside of that, like every dip in the stock is a buyable opportunity essentially, okay? Now, you know what's interesting is, it was supposed to be such a bad day in the market and a lot of people felt pain. I was looking out there and I had so many stocks that were green here today, right? Which shows you something very interesting, and I'll get into that in just a moment. Qualcomm was up nearly 3% today, right? Skyworks Solutions 2.5% up today. RH was up over 2%. Target was up 2%. Revolve was up. Foot Locker was up. Wynn was up. Disney up. The Walgreens up. Oatly, SH of course is up because the SP 500 is down slightly. The Nordstrom was up. JP Morgan was up. There's a lot of green stocks I had today. A lot of green stocks. I believe I actually had more green stocks today than red stocks. It's just stocks like Meta and Tesla got exceptionally hit here today, right? Which shows you something. And what this shows you, what is actually going on out there right now, is rotation, okay? Now, how long does rotation last? We'll see. Sometimes this can last for a few weeks. Sometimes it can last for a few months. But it always ends up ending at some point in time. And basically how this works is people just, they take profits from the performing stocks and they move those down to the non-performing stocks that haven't really done. And obviously we're coming up on the end of the first half of the year, right? The first half of the year ends at the end of this trading week, right? And so getting into that situation, some people are saying, you know what, I'm going to take these profits from some of these stocks, whether it be a Tesla or Meta or whatever it is that's been running huge, and I'm going to move that into some of these non-performing stocks that maybe haven't performed all that good over the first half of this year, right? And it's almost like the Dow's of the dog type strategy where it's basically you buy the stocks that are perform the worst in the Dow, right? And it's a similar philosophy in the market in general. So that's what's going on here, folks. This is just a rotation of money. It's a natural occurrence in the market. It always happens. And then, but like I said, you don't know how long it's going to last for. That's the big thing. Sometimes it can last for a couple weeks. Sometimes it's going to last for a couple months. In my opinion, it could last for anywhere from, I think, 2 to 5 weeks. In my personal opinion, we've been through about a week now, so maybe you got 1 to 4 more weeks of this kind of movement from these performing stocks into these non-performers. That's kind of my 2 cents on that, okay? Now, continue to take advantage of opportunities out there in the market, folks. There's a lot of opportunities out there right now. Because a stock goes up 1-2% does not mean suddenly it's not an opportunity anymore. There's a lot of opportunities, especially with dividend stocks, value stocks. And if we can talk about some of these more growth-related plays coming down a bit in pricing, then we got the last level of kind of opportunities out there, which, let's just call it what it is. A lot of these growth stocks have been running huge, and a lot of people have been waiting for a decent-sized pullback in them to either start positions or build their positions a little bigger. And so the hope is this kind of rotation can last here at least a few weeks. That way we can have some real opportunities to some of those stocks as well, which obviously have a very exciting, compelling, next several years in front of them. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out there, folks. Absolutely loving it. So appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Thanks for being subscribed. Also, pin comment down there. We're going to open up the $10 Patreon tier for July 4th, okay? If you want access to that, which is a no-brainer, you better get access to that. That's going to be pinned comment down there. Put in your email and we'll send you over access when we open it on July 4th for that particular day. We've had that closed down for months, but we're going to open on July 4th for everybody that basically enters their email. We'll send you over the link and you'll be able to join in there for $10. You get to see the moves I'm making in my Fidelity Investments Patreon portfolio each week, stocks I'm buying and selling. You better get in there. That's a no-brainer. You get to see exactly what moves I'm making. Plus, I don't know if you guys knew this, you also get ability to enter the monthly giveaway for a chance to win a membership in my private stock and wealth group, which is a huge value there. So appreciate y'all. Much love as always, and have a great day.